Ahoj, tak jsem tady s Davidem Brabenem, který připravuje hru Elite Dangerous a máme na něj pár otázek, například jak pracuje s vesmírem.
I've always been fascinated by astronomy and our real-life galaxy, and actually sometimes it's irritated me in science fiction stories, films especially, where it doesn't feel real. So I've always wanted, I mean, we've seen with Frontier in the past, but much more so now with Elite Dangerous, where we've got a very, very rich galaxy. We've got roughly 400 billion star systems that are all real, and we've taken that data from real star catalogues. Sometimes the catalogues didn't quite match, they overlap, and so we've had to fix things, had to put things in. All the new exoplanets that have been discovered over the last year, and still being discovered daily, we're putting in. Some of them, it's not that obvious what the solution is. In fact, there's even one in the alpha, in iBootis. The contact binary system, or the binary system that's it's called a W Ursa Majoris variable star, is rotating with a very regular rate, and we can tell there's something is going around it with maybe between 40 and 50 Jupiter masses. But the orbit isn't stable, so we've had to find an orbit that is stable, which is perpendicular to the plane. So we're doing our best to fit all the real scientific data and to make it work from a scientific viewpoint. So it's something that I am thoroughly excited about.
To je neuvěřitelné. Proč jste si ale neřekli, že vymyslíte vlastní vesmír a nebudete se namáhat s tím skutečným? Nejsi ty náhodou takhle vesmírným romantikem?
I think there is an element of romanticism. I think the knowledge that it's real is quite important to me. The fact that it matches our night sky is wonderful, and every single dot in the night sky you can visit. And that to me means something special. You know, that when you go into hyperspace, you see the target around a dot in the night sky, and you see it zoom into it. That is really great, the feeling of travel, the way the constellations all change, initially slowly and gradually distort. That, to me, I get very excited by that.
Proč jsi se vůbec rozhodl vrátit ke svým starým hrám Elite a Frontier?
Why?
Well, no, I see it as a progression. You know, with Frontier, I put so much more into it than the original Elite had, and with this, we're putting so much more into it than Frontier had. So it's a progression. You know, that look at how both technology is improved and how our way of telling stories is improved. And one of the things that I've always wanted to do with Elite, since way back, is make it multiplayer. It makes it a completely different game from an experience point of view. It's great meeting your friends and cooperating, doing stuff in the world.
Mohl bys nám vysvětlit, jak v Elite pracuješ s příběhem a příběhovostí?
Yes, the story is focused around you. Because this is the problem with any multiplayer game, you can't be the hero that saves the world, because then that doesn't work for everyone else. But what you can be is you can be telling the story of your progression. You know, what happens when you reach certain stages? You know, you say, "Oh, have you been invited to join this secret organization?" They said, "Oh, yes, I'm already in it." You know, and all of that sort of thing. That works across the board. So that's how a lot of the story goes. But also, you see the story of the galaxy unfold. You see systems go into rebellion, systems where they have famines. You see gold rushes happening, and suddenly everyone runs off to try mining gold, but actually the money's to be made. You know, you've got these ships coming back full of gold. Maybe you choose to attack them because you don't want to spend the time getting the gold. But it's that sort of thing. You would see a small space station being actually built with scaffolding in it. Then it would appear and people would start docking with it. Maybe if the system stayed rich for a long time, a really big station would start to be being built. So you see a gradual progression over weeks, days, weeks, even months. And ultimately years, as the thing changes.
To bude hrozně složité na údržbu, ne? Ohlídat, jak se hráči chovají, jestli někde nepřekračují to, co je povoleno, nečítují, nehakují herní systémy a tak dále.
Yes and no. I think that consistency comes from the fact that we made the rules of the world consistent. You know, that we already have all the different stock markets where you're trading. All the players are trading on the same market, so they can destabilize the prices, and it's naturally self-balancing, which I think is wonderful. You know, even during the alpha, and now when we're in premium beta, we see that working in real life. It's very exciting.
V sérii Elite si vždycky psal jakousi historii budoucnosti, ve které si se snažil být co nejrealističtější. Jak tenhle motiv rozvíjíš v Dangerous?
I like worlds to be believable and to have that consistency, that thinking about, how do people eat in the future? How do they travel around a city? All that sort of thing. So, for example, eating, day-to-day eating, what do people do? The equivalent today of a microwave oven might be a device which is a 3D printer for printing your food. So you select, a burger, and it 3D prints the burger. It will always taste the same, it will look the same, and the unit would use food cartridges. So you put a cartridge in, a bit like the ink in your printer today, and the red might have run out, so you have to replace the red cartridge. But then you see one of the trade goods in the game is food cartridges for these things. And they get manufactured, from various places that you carry around. And I think that sort of thing. There are also already quite a few books out set in our world, and it's because we put together these things we're calling fiction Bibles, which say how all of these things work, not just the food thing, how you travel around, what is the law in places, why is it that way, who is the president, how did they get to be the president, are they trustworthy, all of this sort of thing, I think adds such a lot of richness, and it does gradually come out in the game, but also it shows that's where the consistency comes from, because we're following our own rules.
Jak myslíš, že bude Elite Dangerous vypadat v reálné budoucnosti, třeba za 5 nebo 10 let?
I think it will continue to change. There are so many things that we want to add. We're already adding some of those now, but once you walk around within your spaceship, once other people can join you in your spaceship and help you by sitting in another of the seats, once you can land on planets, walk around outside, see the vegetation, go big game hunting, trophy hunting, all that sort of thing, maybe from your ship or maybe on foot. Those sort of things, discovering new worlds is, to me, very, very interesting.